What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 22 of Park to Prem here with Nottingham Forest. Today, we kick off our first ever European campaign as Nottingham Forest manager. Yes, it is the Europa League, and you might be sat there thinking, well, who's in the group? Well, let me tell you. We've got Lazio, we've got LASK, who I believe are a Swiss team, I want to say, and we've also got Saint-Etienne as well. So some good teams in here. Lazio, if we just look at, these teams, I guess, just to see how good they are. They finished second in Serie A a few years ago now. The last 2 years they finished in fifth. Their key player is Nathan Wood, who's actually a player I had my eye on because a little while ago he was playing for Norwich City. I think that was the season actually before they got relegated that they sold him for 26 million. He's a very good defender. He's going to be a tricky player for us to beat. He's very, very athletic, very, very quick. But I do feel like that's a winnable game. Obviously, that's the game today. The other teams we've got, Saint-Etienne. They are, of course, playing in League 1. Last year, they finished 5th. Prior to that, they finished 8th. So, theoretically, an easier team. They've got Evander, who's their key player, who doesn't really blow me away by any means. If I'm not mistaken, does he start at Midtjylland? Is that a thing? It is a thing. I feel like he's had a card in FIFA, and that's how I know about him. Is that something I should confess to in a video? Probably not. And the other team we've got is LASK, who, as I said, I think that they're Austrian, aren't they? They're Austrian. Did I say they were Swiss? I think I said they were Austrian. They play in that area of the Alps, somewhere there. And their key player is Baumgartner. Now, I don't have Austria loaded, so there's no league history here. But just to look at Christoph, he's not a bad little player, the Austrian international, but relatively speaking, I do feel like we've got a kind draw, a draw that I expect us to get out of. Obviously, whether or not we actually achieve that remains to be seen. I think Lazio are going to pose the biggest threat. As I said, they are the game today. But over in the league, things have been a bit hit and miss since you were last here. Of course, last episode, it was a disappointing defeat against Leeds. Since then, we've only played the 4 games, the first of which was against Chelsea. Now, Chelsea in this save game are very, very good. Frank Lampard is still their manager. They had won 4 Premier Leagues on the bounce before last year when they finished 3rd. As you can see, Havertz is their key player. And if we just look at their squad kind of schedule, and last season, they got to the Club World Cup final, which actually bleeds over into this year. But as you can see here, they won the Club World Cup. So Chelsea are a very good team. And with that in mind, to get a 1-1 draw against them at home, I was pretty happy. Reece James scored for them just into the first half. Worth noting, they've got players like Havertz, Reece James, Mason Mount, all still playing for them. It's kind of a bit odd when 10 years into a save game, all the same players are playing. And then Piotr grabbed a goal for us in the second half. 1-1 it finished. We will take that. And the next game we had was against West Ham United. This one finished 6-2. This was a crazy game. We took our chances. They were playing our old 3-4-3, so I have to give them some respect. I will show you just a couple of highlights for this game. Smith's free kick was a really nice goal towards the end. And then Kusat Erk with perhaps the goal of the season so far, albeit, 5 or 6 games in. Really, really nice finish by him. The Turkish left winger cutting inside, slotting it away. 6-2 maybe flattered us a little, but we were the better team. We absolutely deserved that result. And that kind of got us back on the straight and narrow. 3 games into the season, finally getting our first win. In the next game here, you can see we took on Norwich. In this one, they took the lead in the 2nd minute, but we fought back valiantly, which was great to see. You can see here, Amlo grabbing 2 was superb. Regina putting in a almost man-of-the-match performance with an 8.3. Good to see him playing at his best. Unfortunately, it only lasted a short while. 2 wins in a row, taking on Sheffield United, who, of course, last season, they were that team that just pipped us to 4th place, and we lost to them here 3-1 at home. A game that we played really well, and we actually took the lead through Seka. It was a beautifully worked goal, knocked it around superbly. Duff, though, got them back into the game with an absolute screamer into the top corner. Amlo had a goal disallowed just before half-time, and in the second half, the game got away from us. Kavanagh got the first, and then not long later, a guy whose name I'm not going to get right, Mikua Tadze? That's not how you say it. He scored from a free kick, made it 3-1. We were unlucky in this one. We probably deserved a better result. 2 screamers, the free kick, the long-range shot. We didn't take enough of our opportunities. You can see here the XG. It was a dominant display by all accounts. Good to see Malang Sarr continuing to put in good performances. The goalkeeper, questions to be asked, I think, of Hafnagel Sprinzing, who Last episode I asked for a nickname. No one gave me a good nickname, so his name is just Toby. I'm going to keep the full name so we can see it, but I will just refer to him as Toby. So far, he hasn't kept a clean sheet in 5 games, so he's got to step up just a little bit over the course, I feel like, of the coming days. Anyway, in terms of what those results mean in the league, right now we're in 8th place, which, considering we've played Chelsea, isn't too bad, but I'm conscious of the fact we've got plenty of the big boys to take on this year. Still, obviously, there's a lot of the season left. But last season, we just didn't take enough of the opportunities against the lesser teams. We actually did quite well against the teams around us. I'm hoping that is something we are going to remedy this year. Anyway, the transfer window swung shut, and I didn't really sign anyone else. And after it swung shut, I decided to take a little bit of a change in approach. I started looking at youngsters with their contracts expiring at the end of the year. I can't stress this enough. If you just look at players with 1 year left in their contract, it is, I don't want to say it's the same as looking at players who are transfer listed, but generally speaking, these players who have 1 year left on their deal, you can get them for around their asking price. I mean, just to test the theory, let's have a look at Torreman, who is on loan from Liverpool. He's not actually that good of a player. He's out on loans. This might be slightly different. He's valued at 18 million. If we suggest an offer, Liverpool just accept the asking price, and this applies to pretty much any player with a contract expiring. So, yeah, consider using that in your filters if you didn't already know that that's a way to get players for around their asking price. But I was looking at youngsters with contracts expiring. You know, sometimes players want to force a move. This year in Football Manager, more than ever, there are really good young players who will try and, well, depart from their team for free if they're youngsters who don't feel like they're getting enough opportunities. There's a few players I've been looking at, players like Ricard Jimenez. Unfortunately, his asking price right now sits at like 27 million. It's now gone down to 24. His contract expires in January. We might keep a close eye on him because given the fact that Barcelona want so much, he might be quite good. Another player I've looked at is Yaroslav David, who looks absolutely superb. The injury proneness does scare me slightly, but I don't know. Maybe I should put in an offer for him, actually, the more I look at him. But with that said, there are some players that I have already agreed to sign who kind of adhere to this scenario. In fact, 4 of these players, to be precise. The one who isn't is Stefan Hahn, who we agreed to sign, I think, last season. In fact, it was so long ago, my scouts have forgotten everything about him. But at 17 years old, he looks like a really good forward for the future. Hasn't really made a splash in the Augsburg first team just yet. But these other players, I think, could make a splash in our first team. The first we have is Ali Sevic, who we've signed from Bayern Leverkusen, or Bayer Leverkusen, not Bayern Leverkusen. There's no N in it. He's joining us, obviously, in January. 19 years old, good little striker, really, really well-rounded, like his personality as well. He's joining us for 3.4 million. We've got Capello joining us from Atletico Madrid. He is 18 years old. He's only just turned 18. He's going to join us in January for not an insignificant sum of money, to be fair, 6 million. And we've also signed Roberto Cruz from Lille. This guy, a little bit younger than the other couple of players, 17 years old, Bosnian under-21 international, very consistent, little bit of potential about him. You know what, if you can sign this kind of player for 2.5 million, I kind of feel like you just do it. Now, actually, now I think about it, Bedoya, I don't think his contract was expiring. Was it expiring? It was expiring. Okay, I take it. His contract was expiring. I don't think I found him the same way as the others. I think he was playing maybe in the national under-21 team for Colombia. Again, national teams, just a treasure trove of players to be found there. Look through the under-21s of national teams. Look at the players who are the youngest players in those under-21s. Occasionally you'll find gems. Bedoya here, he's currently playing for, is it Atletico Nacional? It is. I know my Colombian football, everyone. He's 17 years old. He looks absolutely insane. Great potential, very good current ability. He's only 17, perfectionist personality. He might be good enough to play in the first team this year when he joins us. That might seem mad to say, but I don't know. I want to compare him to Erk, actually. I think he's slightly different, Erk. I think he's going to be a little bit more technical, but not as good when it comes to his vision. Where are you, Erk? Erk. There he is. Yeah, if we just compare the two players here, I mean, actually, Erk's better than I realised. Slightly different, though. You can see the vision is lower. Technical, slightly in favour of Bedoya. Nevertheless, we've signed him for, what, 1.7 million? It's just a bargain by everyone. And the thing with these players is the total outlay is about 15 million. I can easily see 2 or 3 of these players going for at least that kind of money in 2 or 3 years' time, even if they don't quite reach their potential. This is what we need to do, obviously. We don't have a big stadium. We're not currently a regular Champions League team. buying in players to hopefully develop, move on the ones who don't quite make it, is ultimately how we're going to be able to fund our business in the market and keep up with the biggest of the big boys in the Premier League who have their billionaires bankrolling them. Either way, we've got a game against Lazio today. In terms of team news, not a great deal going on. Damani Grimes has been fighting injury. As a result, Navio has come into the team. And, he's already got a goal to his name, everyone. So, round of applause for Navio. I am playing him at centre-back. I know some people hate the jumping reach, but if you watch last year's Park to Prem, you'll know there was a centre-back whose name I've now just completely forgotten. You'll let me know in the YouTube comments. It was South African centre-back. He couldn't jump. You know the guy, I don't remember his name. Did it begin with an M? And answers on a postcard, I don't remember. But I do not think that jumping reach is the be-all or end-all of centre-backs. He scored a header from a corner, everyone. And with Damani Grimes out injured, we're going to give him first-team opportunities and see what he can do. He is still a mercenary. He's our mercenary, but it is a concern that one day he will just pack up his bags and leave and not turn up. Although, saying that, signed a new contract for 5 years, so yeah, good luck with your plan of fleeing. Either way, the rest of the team is kind of what you would expect. Erk didn't start the season amazingly, so I brought in Samake, who, as you can see, has started 3 matches. Has not done anything in those 3 matches. So Erk is back in the first team. He's been developing superbly, as you can see here. Lots and lots of recent development. Playing for the Turkish national team, making a splash. I think he's going to be really, really blooming good. So I want to give him as much opportunity as possible. Amlo's done okay. 2 goals to his name so far this season is not too shabby, till you realise they were both in the same game against Norwich City. If there's a time to get his shooting boots on, today would not be a bad little day. Elsewhere, Peter Shaq and also Regina doing amazing things. I know Regina, I dropped it in the middle of last episode. I did reject a massive offer from Inter Milan for him, but I do think he's really good. And actually, it's worth just talking about the European qualification. Of course, one of the reasons not to sell our right-back was because of the homegrown status situation, which if we... Can I have a look at the registration for the Europa League? I can here. So, yeah, we've got a squad with actually a few spaces in it. Our current first team is only 25 players big, which by my own standards is actually quite small. But you can see here, Peter Shaq and Regina, both classified as under 21, but also both homegrown at club, which is quite nice. We've got a few other players who are homegrown at club. Of course, Drooling, didn't really mention him. He's our third choice goalkeeper this year. Of course, he was our saviour at Lincoln City once upon a time. Had a few years out on loan. Last year was actually the backup at West Ham. With the shuffling we've done in goal, I kind of feel like he's a really good third choice goalkeeper to have. Homegrown at club, it's one of the easiest positions, I think, the third choice goalkeeper to get a homegrown player in. And if we absolutely needed to play him, I think he could probably do a job for us. Either way, that's enough of me rambling away. I'm just kind of stalling the inevitable, which is this game against Lazio. It's our return to European football. It's been many decades at the City Ground since we were last involved in one of these. In terms of the team selection, it's the team that you would expect, I guess with the exception of Navio coming in for Grimes. Lind and Dr. Medj are kind of battling it out at the moment to be the super sub in midfield. Right now, I think I'm probably swinging more towards Lind. You can see here the comparison. Lind is perhaps a slightly better player. But I don't know, there's not a world of difference between them, and Dr. Medj is about half a year older, so that's another factor worth considering. But both players are going to get first team football this year. I'm hoping that we'll get this group stage wrapped up nice and early, and then I can just, rotate the team for the last couple of games. If that situation is going to unfold, we're going to need a really good start here. So let's hop into this, shall we? We're taking on Lazio. Maurizio Pochettino is their manager, so they've got quite a good manager. Not quite up to the standards of WorkTheSpace, perhaps. You can see everyone's loving the team talk, except Luis Navio, who's just angry and aggressive. I don't know. I think he's got a bit of a screw loose, everyone. He's headed one too many footballs, and despite his lack of jumping reach, and he's just very angry. He's just a very angry little man, is Navio. He's our terrier at the back. They've got Tillemans, who was playing for Arsenal last year, so it's interesting to see him playing for them. I wonder if they've signed him or loaned him in. When it comes to Navio at centre-back, I know that the jumping reach thing is going to come up quite a lot, but I'm willing to chance him. Amlo, can you score? Yes, you can. 2 minutes gone. We're blooming good, everyone. We're back in Europe. We're back in the big time. And that's a really nice finish. Bit Route 1, perhaps. Sekler, who's been in good goal-scoring form. I think he scored 5 goals or 4 goals in the last 3 games. Getting an assist there. And Amlo, well, I criticised him. 2 goals in the league in 4, pathetic. 1 goal in 1 in Europe. And that's more significant, I feel like. But no, good start to this game thus far. Hopefully it can allow us to relax just a little bit. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? To have a nice chilled out game where it all goes swimmingly. Not had enough of those recently, I feel like. So far, though, really dominant display. Wood, who is their key player, currently on a booking. Anyway, Regina, big throw forward. No one in the box. It's not a great throw, really, is it? Maybe some defending going to be required here. Although, if we could win the ball high up the pitch, that would be nice. Ball dinked over. Sun Sao reads it. Urk trying to get underneath it, but he's never really going to win anything in the air. He's quite small, is Urk. You kind of can spot it in the match engine. Same with Ricketts. Oh my word, the two kind of smaller players linking up. They might be small, but they are mighty, and they've got technique. Unfortunately, couldn't match his heroics of the game against West Ham with a really nice finish. He skews that one wide of the mark, and despite all the opportunities we've had, 9 shots, 1 on target. Slightly reminiscent of yesterday's game. We've been dominant, though. Going to tell the players I'm far from pleased. I'm never happy. Maybe we can step it up. I mean, the fact both their centre-backs on bookings is a promising sign. I'm almost tempted to do something a little unprecedented on the hour mark. So, this is the system that we use, of course, the 4-3-3. But, over the summer, I went to the drawing board and I came with a plan B. And the plan B is this. It's not that shocking. I'm going to be honest. It's not that different or a system, but it's a system that we can switch to. Smith can go into shadow striker. He's got the physicals for a shadow striker, and then some. Finishing maybe lets him down a little, but besides that, no gaps in his game. Sun Sao comes into deep line playmaker on defend. Again, he suited to that perfectly. Ricketts, not Peter Shaq. Ricketts goes into box-to-box midfielder. Maybe a little bit of a question mark there. But I do like this as a plan B, and I think it's a system we can switch to. And given how this game's gone, you know what? I want another goal, everyone. And I feel like we're dominant enough to get it. I'm going to make some changes as well. I'm going to bring in Marcelo actually at centre attacking mid and Samake in. Erkin Smith, not having the best of games, of course. Samake can play out on the left, cutting in as an inverted winger. As for Marcelo, I mean, he's blooming tall. That's kind of all there is. I mean, a shadow striker doesn't need to be tall, but he's got really well-rounded physicals. Besides his concentration, he's a pretty good shadow striker, and it's quite a nice way to be able to bed him into the first team, because I do feel like, Marcelo might just struggle to get a little bit of first-team football. I don't want him to turn into our Gabriel Jesus, at Man City, where he's the youngster who never really develops, he's never really given a regular run, and trusted. We need to show him a little bit of trust. Maybe he can do it here. Anyway, the new system is in full effect. We'll see how it gets on here as Samake brings it down the left wing. Options are queuing up in the middle. Can't pick out anyone. Slide tackle, back to Samake. Dink towards the back post, cleared away. Marcelo with it, hits it. I'm a genius. I'm a blooming genius, everyone. I'm off the bench, first goal of the season. You will not be Gabriel Jesus. You will not be Gabriel Jesus. That is my promise to you, my friend. I will give you chances to prove yourself, and with a finish like that, I mean, Amlo, watch out, son, you've got a target on your back. Really nice ball into the corner. And at 2-0, I am just wondering, are there any players who I kind of want to protect a little? You know what? I feel like now, with how this is going, it's a good opportunity to bring in Lind for Ricketts. I'm sorry, Dr. Medj, maybe showing a bit of bias towards our young English starlet, but I spent 20 million on him. Right, well, he did look aggressive at the start of the game. He's killed a man. He has killed a man. Navio, you are an absolute plonker. What are you doing? I mean, I know he's a mercenary. I know he's a bit... Was he unsporting? I feel like he's got a bit of a dark streak to his game. Is that a phrase? Maybe not. Right, we've got to... Because I've literally just brought on David Lind, I'm a little bit in a pickle here, everyone. Gustavo Essens, you can't play centre-back. You're learning it. Learn to play centre-back today. Actually, the change that I'm making makes way more sense. Let's bring in Sarr to play left centre-back, because he can actually play centre-back. I now need a left-back. I mean, Marcelo was a Brazilian left-back, and he is left-footed. Marcelo, you're going to learn to play left-back, mate. You're no longer our Gabriel Jesus, you're now our Zinchenko. Happy Christmas. Right, we've got to hold on a little bit here. I think we'll start time wasting. with 20 minutes left. I mean, we've completely dominated the game. I'm hoping that sending off isn't going to put a wrench in our plans. I mean, they've done nothing since the sending off. So I feel a little more relaxed now. But bring back to Manny Grimes. Where's the Navio fan club now? He's lost his head. That's all that he's got very angry. He's a very angry little man, as I said. He's just not happy. Right, Samake, let's get a goal and help me relax. 2-0 is nice. 3-0 would be nicer. Skips past his man like he's not there. Can he pull it back? No, he decides it's FM20 and kicks it into the side netting. Seka, though, set piece. Whipped in. Sar's there. Peter Shak's there as well, unfortunately. The ball is not there. It's over the crossbar. But 2-0 now. Time trickling away. Surely that's that. Surely that is that. I mean, the sending off was a bit of a scare. They've had a few shots since, but dominant display from us. A really, really good opening to our European campaign. I think Lazio are going to be the big threat. Maybe I can't show the faith in Navio that I want to show in him just yet. What? I mean, why get a straight? We're 2-0 up. We're having a lovely time, and then you just go and murder someone. It was a bad tackle. Even Crouchy's like, mate, wasn't a good tackle. Get rid of him. Also, Peter Crouch update, for people wondering, he's still a garbage assistant manager, but he's my assistant manager, so I'm not getting rid of him, basically. That's annoying for Navio. I mean, the silver lining is it's a European suspension. You can see in terms of our upcoming games, we've got Saint-Etienne next in the Europa League, followed by LASK. We've got a few tricky games on the horizon. I think we'll play it by ear and see how we're going. Probably going to end up coming back sometime in November. Maybe even for the second game against LASK. That might be an opportunity, depending on how things are going, to wrap up the European group stage kind of early. Put us in that situation that I was talking about, like being in and hoping we could possibly make happen, where players like Lind, players like Dr. Medj, Marcelo, I can give them a few starts in Europe to end the campaign with top spots already secured. But anyway, plenty of time between then and now. Things could very much go off the rails, but so far, so good in Europe. A win on our debut, can't ask for much more than that. Of course, we will be back again tomorrow. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Let me know what I should do about Navio. I don't know. I'm going to take his pocket money away or something. I'll be back again tomorrow. It's me, Jack. I'm angry. I'm annoyed. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.